इससे समझाओ।
विन ग्रिप टेक्नोलॉजी कुछ इस तरह सीमेंट को ग्रिप करता है, बिल्कुल टाइट।
SRH TMT चैंपियंस की पसंद।
Hi, it's Norman Koshnek here from Extra Time. Just having a few little issues with my screen. Here we go. All right. So welcome. It's Norman Koshnek here for Extra Time. We are joined by a very illustrious panel yet again. They're rather handsome looking today. Nikhil Nuss. He's got the sky behind him. He looks very regal, looking fantastic. Sumitra Bose. Oh my heavens. He's got the ski top on. He looks fantastic as well. Looking younger, guys. I'm looking older, but you're looking younger. And Jadeep Singh is also here. Welcome, all of us. How are we? All great?
Lovely. Lovely to be here.
Same here.
Of course. Now, today we have a rather important match. In fact, it's extremely important for one. Another can also force themselves back into the first position. Chennai Super Kings versus Sunrisers Hyderabad. Chennai Super Kings are the top of the table at this point in time, and Sunrisers Hyderabad are at the bottom. Very distinct positions on the table as it stands. SRH have a lot to play for. Chennai Super Kings, I believe, have a lot to play for as well. Their net run rate is phenomenal. Some 1.6, quite an incredible net run rate. Who would have ever guessed that CSK would be that clear on top of the competition at this point in time? Magnificent. We've come off a great match yesterday, didn't we? What a great match between, obviously, the likes of Delhi Capitals and RCB. Let's hope this match lives up to that same expectation. I'm hearing that Ahmedabad is green, a green-looking pitch, interesting, and a fair bit of dew expected as well. Nikhil, let's start with you. What are your expectations from today?
Isn't today's match in Delhi?
Yes.
That's correct. So,
Yeah, sure, I can hear you.
yeah. So first, can you hear me now, Norman?
Yes, I can hear you. Yep.
Okay, super. So firstly, it's going to be the first match in Delhi this season. That's going to be very interesting, and we don't know how the Delhi pitch is going to be playing out. So I'll wait for that. But I'm just going back, whatever I remember of the 2019 season. It is a bit sluggish, the pitch, so it's going to be a bit slow. Maybe it might be Chennai Part 2, this IPL, and now that all matches are over in Chennai, Delhi could take that role of being a sluggish pitch. And that's the sort of pitch that is going to suit the Chennai Super Kings. They haven't had the opportunity to be playing in a venue where MS Dhoni just loves to choke opponents with his spin bowling options so far. Though I'd have to say that he got lucky with a couple of pitches in Mumbai that were really conducive to spin bowling. There was this one game I remember where the ball got changed, so his spinners came into play, especially Ravindra Jadeja. So he's going to cherish the situation and the conditions that he's going to be getting here for this leg of the tournament. Hyderabad, I think it's going to be very, very interesting. Last time around, what I found fascinating was David Warner coming out and openly saying that he would have liked to have played Manish Pandey in the team. That happened post-match press conference. But he said, quote unquote, the selectors of the squad decide to go with someone like a Virat Singh, that is, in the playing 11. So I'd love to see what happens now to that playing 11. I suspect there might be a change. I think Manish Pandey might come back because that's one area where they're struggling, their middle order batting. So that'd be interesting to see. But yeah, all in all, I'd have to give the edge to Chennai. Just looking at the conditions, the way things are, I'd have to see them as favorite. As far as Chennai is concerned, I'm going to be looking at what happens to Lungi Ngidi. Does he come back? He was good for them in one game, but then had to go out. What do they do with him in this particular venue? Shardul Thakur has come good. Yeah, so I could go on, but as I said, I'm picking Chennai as the slight favorites in this contest, and also looking forward to how the Delhi venue, the newly re-christened Arun Jaitley Stadium, is going to play out.
And I may have said Ahmedabad at the beginning. I do apologise. I should have said Delhi. But having said that, though, you're saying CSK are slightly ahead. I would have thought they're distinctly ahead. I thought they were in a great commanding position and should win well. That's my first thoughts. We'll see where that plays out in Delhi. Sumitra, your points, your thoughts.
I think Nikhil mentioned something like Delhi could be Chennai Part 2. I quite agree with him. In fact, one thing I would like to add to what Nikhil has said is Delhi's weather has been very fickle. And today, right now, it's around 40. So it's going to be very warm. There's a very strong, warm breeze that's blowing. And there's something like, it may not be a sandstorm like yesterday you saw in Motera, but there's a lot of dust and haze. So, so one thing that the players, especially the overseas players, are going to face is the weather. Because unlike Mumbai and Chennai, Delhi is not that humid as of now, but it's extremely warm. And the warm air means that there'll be less dew. So this is one thing that you have to consider, because dew has played a massive factor in both Mumbai, Chennai, and Ahmedabad. Ahmedabad, you saw the amount of dew that was falling. So
Pronounced.
yes, so in terms of playing conditions, it's going to be less dew. How the pitch will behave, we don't know, because I think Delhi is hosting a cricket match after a long time, maybe more than a year now. And so pitch is one interesting aspect of the match. But in terms of performance, CSK are obviously far ahead of SRH. SRH, normally, remember, we had discussed a previous match where SRH lost, and we spoke about how the team management doesn't seem to be in great spirit, if you might remember. Because especially there could be a conflict between David Warner and Trevor Bayliss. And I can definitely see, and there is also Tom Moody. So when you have so many stalwarts in a team, there is bound to be confusion, and that is reflecting in this team. That is very much reflecting in this team. So probably Manish Pandey will come back, but I think having lost 4 matches out of 5, I was writing a story today. I mean, it might sound a little harsh. SRH need a lot of oxygen today. The whole country is, gasping for oxygen. And if SRH has to make a move on in IPL 2021, they will need a lot of oxygen in their performance. And
I think
Chennai Super Kings
sarcasm
have a lot of
word.
oxygen.
Sarcasm is the right word.
Yes. In fact, Chennai Super Kings definitely far ahead, but you never know what is going to be. But the pitch is going to be a very interesting factor. So who bats first and who bats second could determine who wins this match.
Now you talked about some of the players in and out. We've got to look very carefully at the fact that Moeen Ali sat out last game because of a so-called hamstring niggle. And then you have also the likes of Rayoud, who also apparently suffering from some hamstring injury as well. So interesting whether the selections go with those two. And then, of course, Jason Behrendorff is now out of quarantine and is ready to go. So there could be some changes in regards to those 3 players. And then, of course, the loss of Natarajan will be rather significant as well. So certainly having a hamstring niggle, you generally don't play that quickly after. That's what concerns me. Hamstring niggles are not a couple of days recovery. It takes, in most cases, a few weeks. Yes, sir.
I see, having beaten RCB in the last match like that, I don't think CSK is going to change the score at all. They don't need to. They don't need to change the team because, as you rightly said, yes, hamstring takes a little longer to get fine. I mean, the player needs a little more time to be 100% fit. And having beaten RCB so comprehensively in the last match, I believe Chennai will go with the same team.
I tend to think so too. Jaideep, you're wearing a Rajasthan Royals top. So who are you going for today? Because I just want to let you know, Rajasthan Royals are not playing today. So just to let you know, in case you didn't know. Okay.
I think I would like to go for Chennai Super Kings because the squad they've got, they are very much favorites in this game, and every game going around, they are getting favorites now. Last season was altogether different. This season is very much different from last season. They've got back what they were losing. Suresh Raina is back, and the lost strength of team is back again. We have seen Dhoni as well performing for CSK, scoring few runs and leading from the front as a captain of the team. So CSK are favorites for me in today's match. Sunrisers also are suffering because of the few problems they are having, the middle order issues, and the team they are not able to get the best 11 out of the squad they have got. So there are plenty of problems for Sunrisers Hyderabad to deal with. Let's see how the game goes.
Good points. Now, I have to mention this. Since we were together recently, there's been a number of players go home. Your Ties, your Zampas, your Richardsons, the Livingston scenarios, the Ashwins. Have we seen the end of that for this stage, or are we expecting more to potentially leave the groups? Any thoughts? No?
Me or Sumitra?
I was expecting
Nikhil, you can say, please.
I was expecting flying over the screen. Nikhil, I thought you just come flying at me with an answer. Nikhil.
No. I didn't know who you asked. I thought you were asking Sumitra, and I didn't want to.
I was also confused.
Yeah. So, no, if you ask me personally, I don't think it's the end of it. These are personal decisions, and I'm guessing that there will be a few more players that might take those decisions to still leave the IPL bubble for personal reasons, or the bubble fatigue, as some of them have mentioned, or some could be because of the situation around that we see at the moment with the COVID-19 crisis. So yes, I think a few more decisions would be taken. But if you were to ask me about the IPL on the whole, I don't see the IPL being interrupted midway. That's pretty clear with whatever voices we've heard from the BCCI. So I think the tournament is going to continue unless such time that you have a few cases within the bubble, and then that bubble is breached, and that's another matter. But I don't think just for humanitarian reasons or any other such reasons the IPL is going to stop. But yes, you could still have a few players opting out as a personal decision. I mean, that's what I think. I think Sumitra also has a thought on that.
So I can quickly say, Nikhil, I didn't ask whether the IPL will be not played forward. You answering a question I didn't ask. You answering a question I did not.
No. I know you asked me about the players, but I just, I wanted to talk about the IPL on the whole as well.
So, Mitra, with your lovely pink and rose top.
I don't think, as Nikhil said, IPL is not going to shut down. I mean, that's for sure. But as far as international, if there is going to be a pullout, there will be the international players who will pull out, not the Indians. The Indians are, for some reason, they are very, very strong mentally, and very few people will do something that Ashwin did. I mean, he's always been a little offbeat. I mean, he's a little different from many Indian cricketers. I think Nikhil will know that, because he's very forthcoming with his views. He has a mind of his own. So he's obvious, and he's probably one of the most intelligent and educated cricketers you have among the Indian cricketers. So his thought process will be a little different from others, and which he has perfectly showed that. The best thing is the team managements have supported him.
That's
what I have noticed is, suddenly from yesterday, the BCCI has become very proactive as far as COVID is concerned. See, suddenly with all the criticism everywhere, where were these messages of, wear mask, do sanitization and other things before this? That means they have woken up now, after all the criticism in the media, players going home. That means this is something that they should have done from day one. Where were all these? I mean, obviously, it is more reactive than being proactive. That's very typical of BCCI. That's very typical of BCCI. The acting CEO or the COO, Hemang Amin, sending letters to teams assuring them and saying that you're winning for the humanity. See, these are very cliched stuff. I mean, these are very cliched. I mean, it makes no sense actually. See, at the end of the day, otherwise you will not have a last ball finish, right? And how, see, this is how Ponting or the players or the team manager are going to represent, saying that you need enjoyment, which of course you do, but you cannot, because cricket in India has always been far from reality. Having lived in a bubble and being one of the greatest sport as far as the continent is concerned, cricket has been far removed from reality. Why reality? It is far removed from all other sports. So cricket enjoys an entirely different. If this has happened in Australia, why didn't Australia host the World Cup?
Great question. I still don't understand what happened there, because they're considering UAE as a backup to India. Why not simply Australia?
Yeah, the point is, why didn't Australia host the World Cup? It didn't host the World Cup because they had similar issues. The government was careful that there would be 16 teams coming. You have similar number of teams playing here. It may not be 16, but if you consider the entire coaching staff, the squad members, it is as good as 16 teams.
Yeah.
The point is that there's a lot of politics that goes behind international cricket. So let's not talk about that. But as far as IPL is going to carry on, the reactive measures, you will see, Michael Slater and all these Kevin Peterson saying messages. All this you're going to see some more messages for some days, because don't forget they're eating away very precious commercial time. Given BCCI, they would have put ads there and got more money. The broadcaster maybe. Yeah, but the point is this: IPL will go on, and as Nikhil said, there could be one or two more pullouts depending on how the teams are faring. If you see the lower ranked teams, after a few days when the teams have no chance of making the playoff, there could be more pullouts then. But as far as Indians are concerned, no Indian cricketer is going to pull out, and the tournament will carry on happily.
Just quickly on Ashwin, though, and I think this is a relevant point. If you look at the spin bowling depth of his side, they had two very capable spinners to be there in his place, as in Mishra and Xtra Patel. And that certainly must have been in their management decisions an easier proposition if Ashwin wasn't playing as well. All right.
Quite true.
Yeah.
Quite true. But Ponting said in his press conference that Ashwin is a big loss. He said that. He admitted.
There's no doubt.
But dare I say that if he hadn't left the bubble, he was still with the team. Next match, I don't think he would have found a place in the 11, because they had to go with an Amit Mishra. They would have had to go with an Akshar Patel, and they had to drop a spinner. And I think Ashwin would have been that guy, looking at the form. And going forward, I think one other player who would have been competing with Ashwin would have been Lalit Yadav. I know he is not the same spinner as Ashwin is, but if you take a look at whatever he's done for Delhi Capitals so far, he chips in with the bat. So that would have been a very close contest too, in case they decided to go in with a third spinner. So it would have been very tough for Ashwin to have found a place in the 11. But having said that, I'm not insinuating that he's left the bubble because of that. Obviously, there were personal reasons, but just on the cricketing logic, you're right. I couldn't agree more that he would have struggled to have found a spot in the playing 11 after that.
Moeen Ali is in the nets warming up right next to Jadeja.
Yeah.
That's a sign that Ali may be in the side.
He has to come in. If he's fit, he definitely comes in. No doubt about that. Moeen Ali would have to come in. Last match, he wasn't dropped. He wasn't fit, they said.
No,
which is why he didn't play. And if he's warming up, then that means he's fit. He's definitely coming in. And in that case, you'll have to either take Imran Tahir out, or you have to take a Bravo out, one of them. I suspect they might take a Bravo out, bring Moeen Ali in. That's like an all-round sort of a replacement. So Ali definitely comes in. And then Imran Tahir continues to play. I'm guessing if the pitch is like I expect the Delhi pitch to be. In case it's not, and it's going to help the fast bowlers, then Imran Tahir might go out and Lungi Ngidi comes in. But Moeen Ali definitely is in.
All right. Jadid, get your perspective from a Barrett Army fan perspective. Are you excited about today's match, or are you fair middling? What's your thoughts? Yep.
You're mute. Yeah. No.
Yeah, I'm surely excited for today's match, because tomorrow is going to be the match where Rajasthan Royals are going to play. So they can have a good taste of pitch today, how the pitch is playing. It's unlike the Delhi pitch, how the Delhi pitch plays is more of spin. and less of fast bowling. So if any other thing is going to happen, they can make sure the team is going according to that. And if it's not, they can have an extra spinner which has not been tried till yet. Even though Shreyas Gopal has been tried but failed to give any sort of good performance, so they might go with another option of Mayank Markande. So they can have a good taste of pitch today, and they can see how the pitch is playing. The Delhi pitch is a slow pitch, as they have been playing in Mumbai. There was a comparatively very fast pitch. Scoring runs are easy there, so they can have an idea of pitch, how the Delhi pitch is playing, and they can prepare the team according to that.
When I think of a Delhi pitch, I think of Delhi Capitals, and of course we're not going to see Delhi Capitals on the Delhi pitch. It's still, I'll have to be honest, it still annoys me we're not playing home pitches. I think that's a great feel about this tournament. I love when we're in Chennai and CSK are playing, or Kolkata at Eden Gardens. I like that, and I'm missing that. I don't know about you guys, but I do miss that. Do you miss that, Nikhil?
I would have missed it, Norman, had the crowds been there. Without crowds, I think I like this better, because what you've essentially done is taken away that home advantage. And I know that a lot of teams would coerce the groundsmen to prepare pitches like the way they want. See, in no other sport it happens. I mean, let's take soccer, for example. You're playing at home, and of course there's a home advantage, but the pitch isn't that much different to the one that you play anywhere else. So the conditions or the strip makes a huge difference, and if the host can have a say in how the pitch is prepared, I think that's a big advantage. And so now that is taken out. So I'm loving this bit that it kind of neutralizes any sort of home advantage as far as the pitch is concerned. So you're going to have more sporty tracks. I'm liking that. I enjoyed Chennai not playing in Chennai. I enjoyed Mumbai not playing in Mumbai and playing in Chennai. That just brought about a different facet of the game. However, yes, I agree. But once the crowds come back, then not to have the home team play in front of their home fans, that is something that I wouldn't want. So yeah, once the fans are back, you have to do that home and away. That's the essence of sports, right? I mean, fans caring for their team, that has to be there.
Absolutely. How significant is Moeen Ali in his batting? Not just his bowling, but in his batting. He has performed extremely well this series. Masterstroke by Dhoni to have him at first drop. The England team don't consider him in that position. Will England now be looking at this very carefully and think, well, maybe we should have Moeen Ali batting up the order for the World Cup? Subitra, what's your thoughts?
Quite possible. See, the fact that England missed Moeen Ali during the series in India, that was very clear. I think, if I'm not wrong, Moeen Ali took a home break. I mean, that's how the rotation policy in England cricket works. And that is exactly, and if there's one player that they missed, it was Moeen Ali. And I think Moeen has adapted brilliantly to the conditions, and his knowledge will make a big role in when England come back to play the World Cup later this year in India. So
there's even a suggestion that Moeen Ali could have a captaincy role in the future. What do you think about that? And I don't just mean
why not? Why not? On Morgan is not playing well at all. He's completely low. I mean, you can't be leading a team, especially in the shortest format of the game. Many IPL teams have changed captains midway. I think KKR did it last year. Yeah.
I think it takes a lot of strength to do that. I think there's a team that can notice the captaincy's need for a change is a good team, because sometimes you've got to make those bold decisions. I don't believe in hanging on too long to a captain if he's not performing.
Yeah, absolutely. Even Australia has done it. I mean, the IPL teams have done it. There's no harm in having fresh thoughts, and you have a new coach. And the best thing about England cricket now, that they have done away with the selectors. The coach selects their team, and the coach is the closest to the players, so he knows what is the psyche of the player. And if Silverwood thinks that Moeen Ali is capable of delivering the goods in those 20 overs, and don't forget that he will always work as a team. And I shouldn't say this, but some of England's best captains have Asian roots, so maybe Moeen Ali could be one of them.
Absolutely. We're not going to talk too much about the ECB situation, but I've had David Graveney on my show, who was the chairman of selectors for the ECB for a good 10 years. The man's extremely astute with the way he looks at players, having been very close to Sam Curran and his brother Tom. His point was, let the captain and coach make the decisions. Take the room, take the control. I think that's essential. Are we seeing that with Brendan McCullum and Owen Morgan? I don't know what's really going on there. There isn't any form of unity in their decisions. They're vocalizing it to the public. There's something fundamentally not right between those two. You would argue we've heard Dave Warner keep talking about the selectors. There's clearly not something good going on between SRH and their management and their coaching staff. Fundamental flaws in both of those two teams reflected in their results.
One thing I can tell you about Indian cricket, I will tell you a small story. That when the selection committee used to pick the teams, when Dhoni was captain, then Dhoni used to ask for certain players. I will not name those players. I'm telling you something, a very inside story of what used to happen in the selection board rooms. So Dhoni used to participate, and Dhoni used to ask for certain players that I want X and Y. And the selectors invariably would not give him. They might give him X, but may not give him Y. So, but when those 15 players were selected, then he ensured that the selector's role ended after making those 15. The choice of 11 remained with the captain and the coach, which continues even today. That the decision of the 11 remains with the captain, which is Virat, and the coach, which is Ravi Shastri. The teams which are following the simple procedure are doing well. And as you rightly mentioned, there seems to be a lot of confusion in SRH, KKR, and everybody has heavyweight captains and heavyweight coaching staff. And there can always be problem. That problem is not there in Delhi Capitals. Ponting and Rishabh Pant, I mean, you don't compare them in terms of experience. But Ponting is superbly backing Rishabh Pant. Even after the loss yesterday, he said, I will not analyze Rishabh Pant's captaincy. We will only take the lessons away from these close wins and defeats. Because don't forget that they won a super over and the next match they lost by 1 run. So that is how a coach grooms a young captain. So always fresh minds. This conjunction between the captain and the coach is very, very important. And the teams that do it well will always prosper. And that is why RCB is prospering, DC is prospering, Chennai Super Kings is prospering. Because it is just a matter of just two brains that are working to pick the team and thinking what is the best for the team.
Absolutely, well said. That's exactly what's going right and wrong with these teams. It's that obvious. And I keep talking about the dugout and the dramas that you see in the dugout is your true reflection of how the team is going. When you see players on song, looking at each other, nodding at each other's comments, there's a unity in the side. When two players go to the side, have a separate chat from one of the other players, the body language is enormous. And we'll watch the bunkers again. We'll watch the way that they go about that. Even yesterday with Simon Kaddish, he showed a great deal of confidence in the way that RCB were playing. The way he looked at the players when they came off, he was extremely positive, which ended up holding on. So I believe, let's watch the dugouts very carefully. You'll get a true reflection of how the team is going. All right, we're very close to the selection of the toss. I do think it's important that this will come through. If you were to toss, Nick, and you won the toss, what would you do?
It's very interesting. Again, we'd have to wait and watch what happens in Delhi. Few things we'll get to know after the first match, whether there's going to be dew or not. A lot of people expect some dew here in Delhi at this point of the year. So that's going to be interesting. It's a tricky one. I was taking a look at the record. So marginally, it favored the team that was chasing. But then if it does assist spin bowlers, as we are seeing in Chennai, and if it's going to be Chennai part 2, then it may just be the back first pitch as well. So again, till we get to know, till the captains have had a look at the surface, we wouldn't know what they're doing. But I don't know. First
I
two
asked
games
about you. I asked about what you would do. I've got.
I wish
coin
I
in my
had.
hand.
I wish I had
I'm
an
tossing-
all-access pass to the Arun Jaitley Stadium, and I could just sneak in and have a look and come out. Unfortunately, nobody's allowed 100 meters within the stadium now with the bubble protocols in place.
But how come you're an underdog? You're an underdog. You're still an underdog. You're caught in that underdog bubble. You can't get out of it.
Well, that's because matches are happening in Ahmedabad right now. I can't be at two venues at the same time.
You haven't left Ahmedabad. When there was nothing happening there, you were still there.
Yeah, I was preparing the stadium so that matches can happen without any mishaps and players are comfortable and everything is fit and fine. The only thing I couldn't prepare myself was the sandstorm that came. I mean, I just couldn't prepare myself for that. But
Nikhil, where are you? I mean, I can see the stadium behind you. Are you in one of the studio boxes?
No, this is a studio at home because of all the shows that I've been doing for ESPN.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So they made a
That's
little
why
studio.
I was Sumitra. Aren't you catching up? I was having a joke with him. Did you catch up what I was doing? My gosh, I was joking with him.
Yeah.
No, I was seriously asking because I could see the stadium behind me. Watch, it's a dummy studio. Okay.
Yes.
All right, we digress. We should be starting to see a toss here, and we have. Sunrisers Hyderabad have chosen to bat. They've won the toss and have chosen to bat. Thoughts? What's your thoughts? What's your thoughts on the Sunrisers' decision to both win the toss now and to choose to bat?
Very aggressive. Very aggressive decision, and if they can hold on to this aggression for the next 40 overs, they will win this match.
Yes, it's going to be interesting.
What's the team like?
Sorry?
What are the teams like? You have any idea of the teams?
No, the teams. Well,
They haven't.
It's not come through yet. It's only a short time away. Have you heard anything, Nikhil? No. Well, it'll come through very soon. But Sunrisers
Just that
Hyderabad,
SRH are batting first. That's it.
That's it. That's all we've got so far.
Manish Pandey have been given another chance.
Manish
Sorry,
Pandey. There you go.
Yeah, Manish Pandey is playing. As we expected. We did expect that. We're not far from the thing being shown, but there was no evidence of a cap, a new cap being given out in the pre-match warm-up. So that's one thing that's out. Moeen Ali was certainly bowling, so there's every chance he's playing. That's certainly going to be the case. But let's take a step back a minute. With SRH batting first, clearly the likes of Warner, Bairstow, Williamson will hope to get a certain charge going on. And I think, in fact, Manish Pandey and Sandeep Sharma are back in. Sandeep Sharma is also back in.
That means there is a grass cover. It's definitely on the Kotla pitch.
Which
There'll
was
be some
described
grass.
earlier by, it was a green tinge. So let's just, Warner has said this. It looks like a different surface to what we see at Delhi normally. Nice grass coverage. It's just about attitude and discipline. We have some chasing games in Chennai, but for us, it's about to stay relaxed. We made two changes. Abhishek Sharma and Virat miss out. Manish Pandey and Sandeep Sharma are in.
It's interesting that they've dropped Abhishek Sharma. He's been doing very well for them. Also bowled in a few power play overs. But I'm guessing the success that Jagadish Suchit had last match, that's prompted them to drop in Abhishek because I think he can play that same role. Can bowl spin and can tonk the ball. So I think so that has pushed Abhishek out, Jagadish. And Sandeep, I'm happy that Sandeep is back. They only gave him one chance and dropped him after that not so good game that he had. And after that, they haven't played him at all. They gave Khalil Ahmed, Siddharth Kaul to play. The sad bit for SRH, which I think we're missing, is that Bhuvaneshwar is still not fit. He missed out last game because he was not fit. He doesn't come back, which means he hasn't recovered. I just hope it's nothing serious because we've seen in the last year or so that he has got a few injuries. So I'm guessing this is just a minor injury, nothing serious, because all Indian fans are going to be very concerned if there's something serious to Bhuvaneshwar Kumar. They'd be more concerned about the World Cup that's going to come later in the year. So he's not come in. That's interesting. And so 3 Indian pacers, lovely to see in Khalil Ahmed, Siddharth Kaul and Sandeep Sharma bowling together.
Now we also have Lungi and Moeen Ali coming in for Bravo and Tahir. So that's the other change. So Lungi's in. Exactly.
Yeah.
Nikhil, you were on point. You were on point, Nikhil.
Correct.
100% marks to you. Symmetry gets 95%, not quite 100, but Nikhil gets 100%.
Okay, thank you.
This game is always a fine margin, so you know that.
Correct.
Exactly. You know why you lost 5%? You lost 5%. You know why you lost 5%? Because of your top. Your top took me down 5%. I'm sorry.
Okay, fine.
Okay. All right. Charlie, what do you think of this? What do you think of the teams?
I think Sunrisers Hyderabad playing with Manish Pandey is very good to see, because they have tried Virat Singh in the middle order, who is very known domestic Indian player, and who is being known to give firepower in the team at the end position, at the end of the match, usually. So he failed to do that, and Manish Pandey was dropped. It was very uncertain of Hyderabad team dropping Manish Pandey when you got only few senior players, and you're dropping one of them is very unfortunate to see. It's very fortunate now that Manish Pandey is back. He can give at least an anchor role to the team. Kane Williamson can increase his strike rate at the end. So what Manish Pandey has to do is only to support the batting lineup, not to lose his wicket, try to score 30, 40 odd runs with a strike rate of 110 or 120. That would be very good. And looking at the team, CSK is above Sunrisers Hyderabad. I still feel that, because the quality they have got, everyone around the CSK playing 11 is in form. Rituraj Gaikwad, Faf du Plessis, all are in form. They are back. Moeen Ali again. Moeen Ali is in, and Lungi Ngidi is also in. So they wanted to take advantage of the Delhi pitch. Lungi Ngidi suits Delhi pitch more, and Hyderabad team is slightly behind CSK. I feel. I think Jadhav should have been dropped, and Samad should have been given a chance, I think, because Samad have got a quality to hit the ball at the end when you require. So I think Chennai Super Kings are slightly ahead of Sunrisers.
There's an interesting typing mistake, which I think is quite funny. They've said SRH wins the toss and chooses to bet. I think they meant bat, don't you? Okay. All right. No comment to that. All right. Let's go back to the conversation we were having. I still think, and Dhoni said this in his pre-match discussion, he saw the pitch as being very sticky and an enormous amount of dew already. So he would have considered batting first as well. He's made a very strong point in saying that, which is rather unusual that he's been so emphatic about the way the pitch looks and the dew factor. So he's casting a spell that, in fact, that they're going to have problems batting second, with maybe a clever ploy on Dhoni's part. I don't know. But it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. But I think SRH have definitely taken a more aggressive role in this match. They have to. They can't afford not to be. They can't be anything but aggressive. They're coming last, for God's sake. They have to pull themselves off the canvas. Don't you think? It's do or die.
Absolutely. In fact, you have to be aggressive at this point in time. You cannot be defensive. And it was a great decision to kind of bat first, because you would always like to back yourself, and and on paper, SRH have the batting. I mean, don't forget that. I mean, Warner, Bairstow, Manish Pandey, Kane Williamson, they can all bat. I mean, it's just not they're not clicking. I mean, it's just their middle order is not clicking. Warner himself is not clicking, but they're all capable of scoring runs, and they will obviously like to feed off the pace of the wicket. And if there's a green tinge, Warner will love it. I mean, but we don't know. I mean, Delhi's green can be quite deceptive, because once the match starts, we will know. As Nikhil rightly pointed out, the first match is always going to be, it's like the guinea pig. It's like an experiment. So the teams which are going to play later are going to benefit from this. But that if Dhoni is talking about the dew, it's quite strange, because the weather outside is very warm.
Well, he's made a point of saying that in his pre-match discussions. There's another startling situation that's occurring. Xtra, which is a platform we're on today, has just posted pictures of Andre Russell's Instagram with bottles of alcohol and some other outrageous carrying on in his room. That's perhaps a rather strange thing to be posting? Andre Russell's been quite overt with his bottles of alcohol. Is he trying to say something? Not a very good social media platform decision to make. I'm sure his team will be reprimanding him for that. So Extra Time have posted that as well. That's a bit of an aside. Okay. Shall I give my crystal ball? I'm going to have a little look early. I'm seeing Sumitra is going to need to change his top next time next time he's involved. That's one thing. But aside from that, I'm actually seeing CSK still romping in. That's my impression. I think CSK, the whole manner of their side is impressive. Their net run rate is incredibly superior. You can't be in this position lightly. You can't take this position lightly. CSK were never in my thoughts to win this tournament, but I'm having trouble not seeing them in that top 2 or 3. All right. To you, Nikhil, you've watched all these games. You've been an aficionado. Are you seeing anything at this early stage? Are you impressed with CSK? Are you expecting to thump SRH today?
No, I've been very impressed with CSK. Quite frankly, I didn't think that they'd be top of the table at this time of the tournament. So they've been outstanding. Also, I think, as I mentioned earlier, I think MS Dhoni lucked out a bit with a couple of pitches in Mumbai that was just tailor-made for the way he likes them. Some of his players have come good. I think Deepak Chair's been one major reason why they've done so well. They were playing in Mumbai, and when the ball swings, a couple of games, he just took the game away, like 3 or 4 wickets early, and then the opposition team had no chance. So that's worked out really well for him. Then the batting has started firing now. They had a bit of a stutter in the middle order, but now with Fab firing, also Gaikwad, they persisted with, didn't have a great start, persisted with, now is amongst the runs. So it's interesting, but I still feel that their weak area is still their middle order after Moeen Ali, because Suresh Raina, we've seen him hit and miss in the tournament so far. Ambati Raidu also hit and miss. Like some games have been good, some games not so. MS Dhoni himself hasn't been outstanding with the bat. So that's an area of concern. They've got good batting in the lower order when Sam Curran comes about. But in that middle, that's a weak area. So if you can get their lower order cheaply, I think teams have a chance. So I think a lot is going to depend on that Indian trio of bowlers that Hyderabad have gone in. If they can get you early wickets, as they have, Khalil has picked up a few early wickets. Sandeep Sharma, we know if the ball is swinging, can get you those early wickets. Then I think they can set the cat amongst the pigeons. It'll be interesting. I wouldn't be surprised that it's going to be a close one. Hyderabad have won the toss. I think they've made the right changes. I understand that there is a huge difference in the points table, but as we've seen in the IPL, the margins are very small. Anything can happen. I wouldn't be surprised if Hyderabad beat Chennai, and you could call it an upset if you'd like, but close contest this one.
But on the flip side, this would be CSK's 5th game in a row that they would win if they do win. That's also quite noticeable as well. That's a significant part of this. But okay, you're at this early stage, Nikhil, your thoughts are towards an upset, in your opinion. Right?
Yeah, I'm 50-50. I'm really 50-50 on this game. I'm not placing Chennai as the favorites as most people are. I'm saying it's a close one.
Okay. All right. Sumitra, 70-30, or what have you got? What percentage have you got today?
No, I think you've been partial. You've allowed a 50-50. The last time when
I didn't allow. I knocked it on the head immediately.
No, you were not as harsh as you were with me with Nikhil.
Okay. let me turn back the clock. Nikhil, you cannot say 50-50. That is sitting on the fence. You will get splinters. You will get splinters. You'll get splinters.
Okay. Just because I know that most people are going to pick CSK, so let me be the contrarian and pick SRH and let it be an exciting contest. So I'll go with SRH.
Okay.
SRH.
See how definitive that was.
I am very keen to see Sandeep Sharma bowling. I'm very keen to see him bowling, and he can really upset the top order batsmen, which he has done before.
Interesting. So that's your tip to be a potential player of the match as well.
possible. He has been man of the match many times, and he has the ability to swing the ball and upset the top order batsman. And if he can get 2 early wickets, Chennai Super Kings will be in trouble. But of course, SRH must have the runs on the board to back
They
him.
keep describing this pitch as a green pitch. Every person that's been on this pitch sees the greenness in the pitch. It does lend itself to some good medium to fast bowling, so it may well be the case. All right, so we've got two SRH fans. I never thought that Nikhil and Sumitra would be so SRH friendly. I'm impressed. Are you now saying that Dave Warner is the right captain? He's not disturbing the piece.
No, you remember that I had said that early, even before the start of the tournament, that if there's one player that or one team that is going to reconsider their captaincy in the middle, it could be SRH, and that's not because of David Warner, the captain. He's a good captain, no doubt about it. But the only reason I said that is because if you were going to take a look at their foreigners, I think in the 4 foreigners that I would pick, the first 4 picks, I wouldn't have David Warner. And I'm just going on pure form at the moment. Besto in better batting form than David Warner. I'm not saying in the IPL, it's for the last 1 year. Better batting form than him. Then you cannot leave Rashid Khan out. He's the first name on any team list that you have. Then you've got Kane Williamson, who's been in outstanding form, and I expected him to be there. Only thing, he wasn't fit to the start of the tournament. So those are 3 foreigners that pick ahead of David Warner. And your balance becomes better as soon as you bring Jason Holder, a fast bowling all-rounder, / a Nabi, a spinning all-rounder in your team. So in fact, see, the reason that SRH has been struggling is that middle order, they didn't have that batting firepower. Now that could have been solved if you keep that all-rounder, whether you go with Holder or you go with a Nabi, whoever, depending on the condition, then it makes the perfect team. So who would you take out? David Warner, unfortunately. Most other teams did make it, but I think with this SRH team, he has to be 5th in line. And don't forget, they have someone called Jason Roy sitting out, outstanding form again in limited over cricket. So I'm even not considering him at the moment. Many might just pick him ahead of David Warner going back into the year or so. So that's why I said that they have an embarrassment of riches of a number of players that they've got in their team, and how they can adjust them into their playing 11. And which is why I thought that at some point they will reach a stage in the tournament where they may have to change the captain, give it to Kane Williamson, not because of David Warner's captaincy, but because of getting that balance in their 11. And believe you me, if they were to lose another game or 2, they might be on the verge of doing that.
There's one thing I'm going to take you to task on, Nikhil. One thing I'm going to take you to task.
Yeah.
If I were to be in the BBL at this moment in Australia and were to talk about players that weren't Australian as foreigners, I would be hung by my legs upside down and shaken. I think the words non-Indian is better than foreigner. Foreigner gets my hair up. I'm joking,
no, absolutely. But that's the terminology IPL goes with. So okay, I'll use a better word. Overseas players. How's that?
Okay, good. I'm happy now.
Okay.
All right, Jaideep, you've been very quiet and smiling madly. What have you got to say?
I think CSK game today, unlike Nikhil sir and Sumitra sir said, I think CSK is looking quite powerful today, as they have been doing so far in this tournament. They've got a decent squad as well as decent playing 11. The players that are playing in their 11 are in good form. They can do anything what the management wants them to do. So it's going to be a CSK, majorly CSK game. And let's see how Sunrisers goes, because as Nikhil sir said, it's going to be a change in captaincy roles if Sunrisers lost the Q and row from here. So let's see how David Warner goes as well, because his form has been a tension for I think Sunrisers Hyderabad team. He's not performing. Jason Roy being on the bench, and Jason Holder being on the bench as well. He's a great skill set and provides extra stability to the team as he bowls and can give quick firepower runs at the end. So let's see how David Warner goes and how Sunrisers Hyderabad goes. But I think today it's going to be a CSK game.
You know what? I'm seeing only CSK too, and the word thumping. I'm going to be bold and say CSK is going to thump SRH. Now that makes the top line CSK and the bottom SRH. Is that significant? Top CSK, bottom SRH. I think there's a certain oh hello, we just lost Nickel. There's a certain positioning there of the teams. I'm looking forward to this match. I think it'll be a lot more exciting than people may have thought. I think that SRH will put a very good account for themselves. In my opinion, CSK will win. I would like to see Warner blast. I would like to see Warner go with great freedom to his batting. Would be important. In fact, Nikhil may have had to leave. Let's just check whether he had to leave. It may well be that Nikhil had to leave. What's it? Yes. Yeah, Nikhil has other commitments. That's why he left. But he would agree with the situation there. Sumitra, do you think it's a matter of someone like Warner freeing up his mind and just batting as we know he can, where he just bats with go abandon and actually attacks from the start?
See, Nikhil's analysis is fine. I mean, that Warner will be number 5th on his list in terms of overseas players. But again, there's this unpredictability, explosive factors that Warner brings in to this competition. I think today is a big day for him to shift a gear and then prove himself, which he's quite capable of. I mean, for some reason, whenever I've heard Warner speak after the matches, the post matches, he has looked unhappy. He has looked very unhappy. I mean, this is something the Australians do not show on their faces. For whatever reasons, like Ponting, for example. I mean, he's a veteran, right? I mean, so is Warner. I mean, the fact is, why is there so much unhappiness in his face? That is something that struck me in every time he has had a conversation on television, and he looked very disappointed. So even at this stage, so I think for him, today's match is going to be do or die kind of a situation to prove the management that he's still the leader of the team, and he cannot afford to do what Morgan is doing. See, Morgan is also another captain who's completely out of form. So if he has to stay in the run and keep the team as a unit, he has to perform today. And I would like to see Warner perform because, after all, he's been one of the best performers ever in IPL. So, at the end of the day, you always want the big players to fire. That's why you get very easily disappointed if Dhoni doesn't score or Virat doesn't score. But yes, I mean, to maintain the balance, of course, you like to see the youngsters scoring runs. But at the end of the day, sport is all about icons. And David Warner is an icon.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No matter what anyone says about him not being dissension in the ranks, whatever it might be, when he performs, everybody watches and they enjoy it, no matter what team you support. Jody.
I would like to add up with Sumitra, sir. As they said, Morgan is not in his best of form. I think IPL franchisees, why not they should go for Indian captain instead of going for an overseas captain? Because as we have seen over the years, if overseas captain does not perform, there is a space in the team which left empty, and which can be filled with any other talented or having a good form at that moment, such kind of player, to have a balance in the team. I think franchisees should go for an Indian captain rather than going for an overseas captain, because the same problem Rajasthan Royals suffered last year as well. They had Smith, who was not performing very well, and unfortunately the franchisee decided to remove him after the season. So this is the problem with Sunrisers Hyderabad and Kolkata Knight Riders as well. If they perform and score runs, Owen Morgan and David Warner, then it's well and good. Then it's very good for the franchise, for the team, because the captain is scoring runs. If they are not performing, then a spot is created which is not giving you run, rather doing the captaincy role, which is not doing with that perfection. When you've got confidence of scoring runs, you can have good captaincy as well. So I think franchisees should go with Indian captain rather than going for overseas ones.
I think there's a trend that way. I think there is definitely a trend. We've seen Samson, obviously, Australia's high would have been punts. there is a trend going in that direction, and Rahul as well. All right, I'll just quickly read the teams out and we'll finish up. Obviously, Warner and Bairstow are opening up with Williamson, deemed to be number 3, Pandey, Kedar Jadhav, Shankar, Rashid Khan, Sushit, Sandeep Sharma, Khalil Ahmed, and Siddharth Kaul. So that's a good batting lineup, certainly. Will Williamson bat 3 and Pandey 4, or will it be the reverse?
3 and 4. I think you're absolutely right. Williamson should bat 3 because if there's an early wicket that falls, he's the only man capable in the batting order as of now who can play till the last ball. Because
Exactly.
he's got that class, he's got the skill to hold on and hold fort at one end and let the others score around him. And don't forget his strike rate is equally good. So I think
Absolutely.
If by logic and on form, Kane should bat number 3.
Can you read that, Jadid?
Why Robin is not playing for CSK?
It's a fair. Uthappa deserves to be there. They're playing too well without him. Where do you put him in? The batting line is strong. Let's go through that. Gaikwad, Duplessis, Moeen, Rayner, Rayudu, Dhoni, Jadeja, Curran. My God, where do you put him in that lineup? Thakur, McGiddy, Jahar. We haven't even discussed Jahar as well in our discussion. That's a very good team. And there's no weaknesses at this point in time, despite the so-called age factor. Where would you fit?
I think they will. The one soft spot I can see is between Raina and Raidu. So one of them keep failing. I think Robin will get a chance there in the middle of the
Okay. All right, guys. This has been a fantastic discussion. We've got some 2 to 3 minutes left before play starts. Thank you again, Sumitra. Obviously, Nikhil had to go, but he was fantastic. Jadip, you've been wonderful today. I've been rather nice too, I guess. And my crystal ball says CSK. So come back after the game, watch the post-game reports. We'll see a lot of interesting by-play going on in this game. I still think it's a CSK victory. This is Norman Kosnick saying goodbye from Extra Time. And we'll have these great guests on once again. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Norman, and bye, Jaideep.